Have you ever felt that, even while being in a relationship, something was still missing? As if your happiness and sense of fulfillment depended on someone else? Maybe you've asked yourself, am I truly living for myself, or just adjusting my life to meet someone else's expectations? Today, I'll show you a truth that can completely change the way you see life. Living alone isn't about isolation, it's about freedom. It's about unlocking an inner power that few know about. A power capable of transforming your mind, your body, and even your destiny. Imagine a life where you don't emotionally depend on anyone, where your choices are guided solely by your desires, and where your creative energy isn't divided or compromised. Living alone might seem challenging, but what you'll discover today will show you how this decision can surpass any relationship. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how science, and even Joe Dispenza's teachings, prove that conscious solitude can elevate your mind to an entirely new level. And the best part? This is the key to unlocking an extraordinary life full of freedom, peace, and personal power. If you've ever felt that you could live much more fully than you are today, stay with me, because what's coming next will change everything. Have you ever wondered what's happening in big cities around the world? More than half of households are now made up of people living alone. This isn't just a number. It's a revolution in how we think and live. But why is this happening? There's a brilliant reason behind this shift that many people haven't realized yet. During my advanced workshops, I see something remarkable. People who learn to be alone aren't just finding a way to get by. These individuals are truly transforming their lives. Did you know that brain scans of these people reveal something fascinating? The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for advanced thinking and emotional regulation, becomes significantly more active. It's impressive. Let me share something personal with you. There was a moment that changed everything in my life. I was in my office, surrounded by research on neuroplasticity, when something clicked. We've been programmed, yes, programmed, to believe that we need a relationship to be complete. But do you know the secret? Your brain doesn't differentiate between the emotions you create within yourself and those that come from a relationship. That's right. You can produce the same substances that make you feel good. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all by yourself. Now, think about this. Every time you seek a relationship to feel complete, you're reinforcing a message to your body. You're saying, I need something external to feel good. But what if I told you that the most powerful relationship you can have is with your own consciousness? When we're in a relationship, our brain divides its attention, adjusting thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to align with another person. But when we're alone, something extraordinary happens. Your brain begins to work in perfect harmony. It's as if it syncs with itself. Recent studies show that people who master the art of solitude have stronger neural integration. This means that the two hemispheres of the brain, the right and the left, communicate more effectively. They also have more gray matter in areas linked to self-awareness and emotional control. This isn't just psychology, it's pure biology. Here's something that might surprise you. Many relationships, as most people experience them, keep us tied to our past self. We use others as emotional crutches, as external sources of dopamine and serotonin, when we could be producing these substances on our own, naturally and abundantly. And that changes everything. Before we go further, let me share something that might be the turning point you've been waiting for. If you're tired of cycles that hold you back and want to attract success, prosperity, and peace, pay close attention. Many people feel stuck, unable to break free from negative patterns. But the truth is, every transformation begins in the mind. That's why I created the ebook, The Formula for Powerful Affirmations, a practical and powerful guide to reprogram your mind and bring out the best in you. In this ebook, you'll learn how to use affirmations to break free from negative cycles and create a life full of abundance and achievement. With tested techniques based on years of practice and research, you'll discover how to attract success, peace, and become the person you've always wanted to be. The link to download the ebook is in the first pinned comment and in the video description. Don't ignore it. Download it now and see how this ebook can be the first step to transforming your life in just a few days. When you are alone, it's not just a moment of being without company. You are literally redesigning the connections in your brain. This isn't just theory, It's concrete science happening in real time inside your head. When we're constantly in relationships, our brain enters what's called a reactive mode. It is always responding to the energy, emotions, and needs of another person. But in solitude, something extraordinary happens. The brain shifts to what neuroscientists call introspective neural processing. This is when the default mode network, the system responsible for self-reflection and self-awareness, kicks in. Let me simplify this. Your brain has about 100 billion neurons, and each one can make up to 10,000 connections. When you're alone, these neurons begin forming new connections based solely on your internal state, without external distractions. It's like tuning into a clear radio station, free of static interference. And there's more. When it comes to stress reduction, living alone offers incredible benefits. Studies on cortisol levels, the stress hormone, show something impressive. People who master the art of being alone have basal cortisol levels up to 50% lower compared to those in relationships. Why? Because they're not constantly managing the emotional storms of another person. Their nervous system isn't stuck in fight or flight mode all the time, as it often is in many relational dynamics. Now think about your morning routine. When you're alone, there are no negotiations, compromises, or emotional adjustments with another person. Your brain can fully focus on regulatory functions and creative thinking. This isn't selfishness, it's neural functioning at its best. The autonomic nervous system shifts more easily from stress mode, sympathetic, to rest and digest mode, parasympathetic. In short, your body and mind operate in a much more balanced way. And what about decision making? When you're alone, your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, doesn't have to consider another person's preferences, emotions, or reactions. This creates what neuroscientists call clean decision pathways. Your choices become faster, clearer, and more aligned with your true desires. You're not dividing your brain's resources between your needs and someone else's. I've seen brain scans of people before and after periods of intentional solitude, and the difference is incredible. Neural density in areas related to emotional regulation and executive function actually increases. This means you're not just feeling more decisive, you're literally building a more efficient brain. Here's something few people realize. Every time you face a challenge alone, you're strengthening self-efficacy circuits. These neural pathways help you feel more capable and confident in handling anything life throws your way. Every time you solve a challenge on your own, you're building your capacity to navigate life independently. It's like building emotional muscles. Every solo experience, every problem solved on your own, creates stronger neural connections for future challenges. The biology of self-sufficiency is fascinating. Your brain begins producing more brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. Think of it as fertilizer for your neurons. When you regularly dedicate yourself to solving problems alone, your brain becomes more adaptable, resilient, and prepared to handle whatever life throws at you. In addition, you're training your brain to maintain emotional balance without relying on external support. This isn't about living in isolation, but about becoming your own emotional ecosystem. The hypothalamus, a crucial part of the brain, learns to regulate your mood without needing another person's presence or approval. You become what I call an emotional self-generator. Here's a powerful truth. Every time you choose solitude over dependence, you're not just making a lifestyle choice. You're actively participating in a process of neuroplasticity. Literally, you're sculpting a more evolved brain. Your neurons begin firing in new patterns, creating pathways that support independence rather than reinforcing emotional dependence. The most exciting part? This neural reorganization becomes a self-sustaining cycle. The more you develop these independent neural networks, the more natural and rewarding solitude becomes. Your brain starts craving the clarity and harmony of being alone rather than the neurochemical turbulence of a relationship. Before we continue, I want to make sure you don't miss any important content. Check if you're already subscribed to the channel. By doing so, you guarantee access to valuable strategies that can truly transform your life. Don't let this opportunity pass. Each new video could be the next step in your evolution. Now, think about this. For people dependent on relationships, the brain's reward centers are constantly seeking external validation. But for self-sufficient individuals, those same reward centers light up with personal achievements, quiet moments of reflection, and states of joy generated internally. You become your own source of positive neurochemistry. This isn't just about being alone. It's about creating the most advanced and capable version of your brain. It's about optimizing your neural architecture for maximum personal growth and evolution. When you understand this science, you realize that being alone isn't just a choice. It's a sophisticated strategy to accelerate your neural development. Now, let's talk about something that was programmed into your brain even before you learned to speak. Society installed an operating system in your mind that tells you need someone else to feel complete. It's time to understand this programming and break free from it. From the moment you were born, you were bombarded with messages like, find your other half. You need someone to complete you. Being alone means being lonely. These aren't just ideas. They are neural pathways carved into your brain after years of repetition. Every romantic movie, every fairy tale, every wedding celebration reinforce these patterns. But here's what no one tells you about the energetic cost of relationships. Your brain processes about 400 billion bits of information per second, but you're only conscious of about 2,000 of those bits. When you're in a relationship, a significant portion of that energy is spent managing another person's emotions, anticipating their needs, and maintaining harmony. Think about your last relationship. How much time did you spend thinking about what the other person was thinking? How much energy did you invest in managing their emotional state? The average person in a relationship spends up to 70% of their mental energy on thoughts and emotions related to the relationship. That's 70% of your creative potential, your manifestation energy, tied up in maintaining a connection that society told you needed. What many people experience is what I call the relationship dependency cycle. It works like any other addiction. When you're in a relationship, your brain releases oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals. But when you're alone, your brain creates withdrawal symptoms, making you feel like you need someone else to feel normal. Now, here's the truth. Those chemicals are already inside you. You don't need an external trigger to produce them. Breaking free from emotional dependencies isn't just about being physically alone. It's about reprogramming your brain's emotional reward system. Every time you resist the urge to seek validation from someone else, you weaken the old neural pathways and build new ones. It's like rewriting your brain's operating system. Here's something fascinating about reprogramming your subconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between a real relationship and one you create in your meditation. When you sit quietly and generate feelings of love, joy, and completeness on your own, your brain produces the same chemicals it would in a relationship. But here's the big difference. You're in control of this production. You no longer depend on someone else's behavior to feel good. The most powerful way to break this programming is to become aware of it as it happens. When you feel that pull toward a relationship, pause and ask yourself, is this an authentic desire, or is it my programming speaking? Each time you choose yourself over societal expectations, you strengthen the neural pathways of independence. Your subconscious has been running relationship programs for years. But here's the incredible thing about your brain. It's always ready to learn new patterns. Every morning, when you wake up alone and choose to feel complete, you're installing new software. Every night, when you go to sleep in peace with your solitude, you're reinforcing those new patterns. Remember, social programming is not your destiny. It's just a starting point. You have the power to rewrite every belief, every pattern, every program that tells you need someone else to feel complete. This isn't about rejecting connections. It's about choosing conscious independence over unconscious dependency. Your brain is waiting for new instructions. Are you ready to give them? Now, let's talk about something extraordinary happening in the quantum field around you right now. Every thought, every emotion you generate creates an electromagnetic signature that extends 1 to 1.5 meters beyond your body. When you are truly connected with yourself, this field becomes incredibly coherent and powerful. Quantum field theory shows us something remarkable. Your thoughts and emotions are not just abstract concepts. They are real energy patterns interacting with the fundamental fabric of the universe. When you're alone, focused, and centered, your personal energy field isn't entangled with anyone else's. It's pure and free from interference. Let me share something profound about meditation and solitude. When you sit alone in meditation, you're not just relaxing, you're literally tuning into your own quantum field. Your brain waves begin to synchronize. The electrical activity of your heart becomes more coherent. Before we move on, I want to ask you for a small favor that makes a big difference. If this content is already resonating with you, leave a like. It not only helps me continue bringing more videos that inspire you, but it also signals to YouTube that this content is valuable to others like you. With that done, let's move forward, because the next point I'm about to share might be exactly what you need to take that leap. You begin to produce what scientists call organized energy patterns. This is where the magic happens. Most people never experience the full power of their own energy field because they're constantly mixing it with others. Think about it. In a relationship, your field is always merging, always making compromises. But in solitude, especially during deep meditation, you can generate an energy field so powerful it can be measured by magnetometers several meters from your body. Now, something fascinating about creating your own emotional signature. Every emotion has a specific frequency, a unique vibration. Love, for example, vibrates at around 528 hertz. Joy has its own frequency. When you are alone and centered, you can learn to generate these frequencies at will. You're not receiving these emotions from someone else. You're creating them on your own. I've seen this in advanced meditators at our workshops. Their EEG readings show something extraordinary. When they focus on self-generated love, their brain waves become more coherent than when they think about receiving love from another person. The frequency is cleaner, more stable, more powerful. Now let's talk about internal coherence. Your body has several rhythm-generating systems: the heart, the brain, the digestive system. When you're constantly adjusting your presence to another person, these systems can fall out of sync. But in solitude, especially during focused meditation, these systems can synchronize perfectly. This is what we call psychophysiological coherence. Think about your heart for a moment. It generates the largest electromagnetic field in your body, about 100 times stronger than the field generated by your brain. When you are truly connected with yourself, this field becomes incredibly organized. The patterns of your heart rate variability become smooth and orderly. This isn't just poetic, it's measurable science. The science of self-love is particularly fascinating. When you generate feelings of self-love, your body produces nitric oxide, which dilates your blood vessels. Vagal nerve activation increases, reducing inflammation. Your immune system becomes more efficient. You are literally creating a biology of self-healing through your connection with yourself. Now, something few people realize: your cells have receptors for emotions. When you consistently generate positive emotions instead of seeking them in relationships, these receptors become more sensitive and responsive. You need less external stimulation to feel good because your cells are tuned to the positive emotional broadcasts you create. At our advanced workshops, we use heart rate variability monitors to show something incredible. When people shift from thinking about receiving love to generating love, their coherence levels often double or even triple. The body literally works better when you are your own source of positive emotions. And here's another curious fact about your brain. It has something called mirror neurons. These neurons fire both when you experience something and when you observe someone else experiencing it. And here's the secret. These neurons cannot distinguish between love coming from outside and love generated by yourself. When you practice self-love and deep meditation, these neurons fire with the same intensity as they would in a romantic relationship. When you sit in silence to connect with yourself, you are strengthening what I call energetic sovereignty. You are building a coherent energy field that becomes your natural state. This isn't isolation, it's elevation. It's not about separating from others, but connecting to the most powerful source of love and energy that exists: yourself. Your quantum field doesn't differentiate between love coming from another person and the love you generate. Energy is energy. By mastering this internal connection, you are not just becoming independent. You are becoming energetically self-sufficient. You are creating a coherent and powerful field that attracts possibilities instead of depending on relationships to feel complete. This is the new humanity. Energetically sovereign, internally coherent, and capable of generating all the emotional frequencies needed for an extraordinary life. Are you ready to become your own source of love, joy, and coherence? Your ability to create reality and manifest your desires reaches its peak when you act from a place of completeness, not need. This is where living alone transforms into a superpower. When you're not dividing your creative energy between your desires and someone else's, something extraordinary happens in the quantum field. Think about the observer effect in quantum physics. It tells us that particles behave differently when they are observed. Your thoughts and intentions work the same way. When you are alone, fully present with your creative power, you become the sole observer of your reality. There is no other consciousness competing with or diluting your creative force. Let me tell you what happens in the brain when you manifest from complete solitude. Your pineal gland, what many mystics call the third eye, begins to operate at its optimal frequency. There's no processing of someone else's energy or dreams. Every ounce of your creative force is aligned with your intentions. What many people don't realize is how relationships often create quantum entanglements that block manifestation. When you are emotionally entangled with someone else, your energy field blends with theirs. Your vibrational frequency must constantly adjust, constantly compromise. It's like trying to tune a radio to two stations at the same time. You get static instead of clarity. Now, here's what's fascinating about conserving energy in solitude. Your body operates at multiple electromagnetic frequencies, and when you are alone, these frequencies can perfectly align with your intentions. There's no energy leakage, no need to maintain emotional bonds or match someone else's frequency. You become what I call energetically efficient. I've seen people at our advanced workshops develop what many would call supernatural abilities by mastering the art of being alone. Their intentions affect random number generators. Their consciousness influences quantum events. Why? Because their energy isn't fragmented by relationships. They operate as a complete and coherent quantum system. Now, something profound about manifesting reality. In quantum physics, there's a principle called coherent states. These are states where all waves are in phase, moving together. When you are truly alone, centered in your power, your thoughts and emotions can enter a state of total coherence. When you achieve this coherence, you become a powerful magnet in the quantum field. Think about the last time you tried to manifest something while in a relationship. How much of your creative energy was dedicated to maintaining that connection? How often did you have to adjust your dreams to accommodate someone else's? In solitude, every ounce of that energy can be directed toward your highest vision. Even the biology of manifestation is enhanced when you are alone. The neural networks in your brain fire more coherently. Your pineal gland produces elevated levels of natural DMT, and your body's electromagnetic field becomes more organized and powerful. Literally, you are transforming into a stronger transmitter in the quantum field. Now, something many people don't understand about extraordinary abilities. They arise when you achieve what quantum physicists call phase coherence in your personal energy field. This is incredibly difficult to maintain when your field is constantly entangled with someone else's, as it is in relationships. But when you are truly independent, something remarkable happens. Your intentions become clearer, stronger, and more focused. You're not sending mixed signals into the quantum field. Every cell in your body, every thought in your mind, and every emotion you generate are aligned with your creative purpose. This isn't just theory, it's measurable science. People who master solitude show greater activity in the brain's manifestation centers. Even their DNA responds more coherently to their intentions, and their ability to influence quantum events visibly increases. Hey, don't forget to check the pinned comment to download the ebook and take the first step in your transformation. Your power to create reality is not diminished by being alone, it is amplified. You don't lose anything by choosing solitude. In fact, you gain the full force of your creative energy, free from emotional interference or relational compromises. Are you ready to become a pure and powerful creator in the quantum field? Think about this for a moment. Most people operate based on survival emotions: fear, anger, jealousy, attachment. These emotions are coded into our DNA, passed down from generations of humans who needed relationships to survive. But you're no longer living in that reality. You are ready for the next level of human evolution. When you choose to live alone, you're not just making a lifestyle choice. You're taking an evolutionary leap. You're telling your body, your genes, and your consciousness that you're prepared to move beyond these primitive survival emotions. You're ready to operate from a higher level of existence. Now, let me tell you what happens in your biology when you break ancestral patterns. Your genes have memory, something scientists call epigenetic markers. These markers carry emotional patterns from your ancestors, like the belief that you need others to survive, to feel safe, to be complete. When you choose conscious solitude, you begin to rewrite those markers. Literally, you're changing the expression of your genes. I've seen people in our workshops who have mastered the art of being alone achieve states of consciousness that defy traditional understanding. Their brain scans show patterns similar to those of advanced Buddhist monks. Why? Because they are no longer operating from inherited emotional programs. They are creating new states of being, new ways of existing. When you stop dispersing your emotional energy in relationships and abandon the ancestral patterns of dependency, your intention becomes something powerful, like a focused laser. Your thoughts are no longer just thoughts. They become true instructions to the quantum field. Now, here's something fascinating about creating new states of being. Your body literally does not distinguish between an emotion you generate internally and one triggered by external circumstances. But there's a crucial difference. When you generate these emotions on your own, you are no longer at the mercy of external conditions. You become what I call an emotional alchemist. Most people never experience elevated emotions without external triggers because they are addicted to the chemical cocktail of relationships. But by mastering solitude, you learn to produce these elevated states at will. Your brain begins to create new neural networks that sustain these higher states of consciousness. Think about your nervous system for a moment. It was designed to respond to environmental stimuli, including the presence of other people. But in solitude, you develop what neuroscientists call self-directed neuroplasticity. You learn to regulate your nervous system and create elevated emotional states without any external stimulus. This is evolution in real time. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your biology. Every time you choose to generate joy, love, or enthusiasm on your own, you're strengthening these new neural pathways. You are becoming a new kind of human being, emotionally self-sufficient. And the most exciting part? These elevated states become your new normal. You no longer revert to survival emotions when you're alone. Instead, you maintain elevated and coherent states because you've built a neural architecture that sustains them. Now, something powerful about the evolution of consciousness that many don't understand. Consciousness doesn't evolve in comfort. It evolves through challenge. When you choose to be alone, you challenge all ancestral patterns and genetic programs that tell you you need others to feel complete. Your brain has something called metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your own thoughts and emotions. When you're alone, this awareness intensifies. You begin to recognize emotional patterns that aren't yours. They're inherited, programmed, installed by society or ancestry. And by recognizing them, you can change them. This isn't just personal development, it's species development. You are part of a growing number of people choosing to evolve beyond emotional dependency. You are creating new patterns of consciousness that will be inherited by future generations. Evolution doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when we dare to break old patterns and choose to create new states of being. Are you ready to become the next step in human consciousness evolution? Now, think about this. Your morning sets the frequency for the rest of your day. When you wake up alone, you have a precious opportunity. Those early hours are pure energy, uncontaminated. You're not managing someone else's mood or adjusting your rhythm to another person's. Use this power. Start before sunrise. That's when your pineal gland is most active and your body is primed to create new neural pathways. Sit up in bed and place your attention on your heart. Feel it beating. This is your rhythm, your life force, not someone else's, not a relationship's, but yours. Practice powerful energy management techniques. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your abdomen. Breathe into these centers for 7 minutes. You're not just breathing, you're literally charging your body's electromagnetic field. This is your energy, your power source, requiring nothing external. Your living space isn't just a home, it's an energy incubator. Remove photos of past relationships and shared memories. Not because they're bad, but because you're creating space for new energies. Add objects that represent your independent power. Crystals, books, artwork that speaks to your soul. Build your emotional self-sufficiency through what I call state training. Set 3 alarms throughout the day. When they go off, stop everything and generate a feeling of joy, love, or peace without any external trigger. You're teaching your brain that you can produce these states at will without needing any relationship. Dedicate a sacred hour at night, which I call the power hour. Sit in your space and focus on the energy center of your brain. Feel your pineal gland activating. You might experience unusual sensations, patterns of light, vibrations, maybe even slight electricity. This is normal. You're accessing higher states of consciousness that only emerge in solitude. When you feel the urge to connect with someone, simply sit with it. Don't pick up your phone. Don't seek distractions. Allow yourself to feel the discomfort and choose to transform it into power. Each time you do this, you're strengthening your emotional muscles. Daily evolution requires consistency. Start keeping a journal to record your states of consciousness. Write down the moments when you successfully generated elevated emotions on your own. This isn't just documentation, it's reconditioning your subconscious mind for independence. Every morning you wake up alone is a new chance for evolution. Every night spent in conscious solitude is another step toward abilities many would consider supernatural. You're not just living alone, you're pioneering a new way of being human. Now, ask yourself, are you ready to transform every moment into a portal to your greatest potential? Everything I've shared with you today isn't just information. It's a true activation code for your evolution. Neuroscience, quantum physics, the biology of being alone, all point to an extraordinary truth. You were designed to be sovereign, complete, and incredibly powerful on your own. Think about everything you now understand. Your brain literally functions at a higher level when you're in solitude. Your electromagnetic field becomes more coherent when it's not entangled with others. Your genes express themselves differently when you free yourself from relational dependencies. Your ability to manifest reality strengthens when your energy isn't divided. This isn't about being against relationships. It's about being for evolution. Every morning you wake up alone. Every night spent in conscious solitude. You're not just existing. You're evolving. You're becoming what humanity was destined to be. An energetically sovereign being capable of generating its own elevated states of love, joy, and power. The future belongs to those who master their inner world. While others seek completeness in relationships, you will operate from completeness. While they manage emotional dependencies, you will explore supernatural abilities. While they live in survival mode, you will create new states of consciousness. Remember this moment. This is where you chose to step out of humanity's old programming and into your fullness. This is the instant you decided to become something new, something extraordinary. You're choosing to be more than just an individual. You're becoming a completely sovereign being capable of generating all the love, all the joy, all the power you need from within. You're not just choosing solitude. You're choosing to become unlimited. Are you ready to live as the most evolved version of yourself? Before we go, if this content brought you clarity or inspiration, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It helps me continue bringing videos that can transform your life. Also, take a moment to check out the videos appearing on the screen now. I'm sure they'll take you even further on this journey of self-discovery. And don't forget to click the pinned comment to download the ebook, which will guide you step by step in creating the future you desire. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video as we continue evolving together.